Hi, and welcome back to Poltergeist Board Games. Today we are doing part deux of War Story Occupied France, and this is our playthrough, part two. So a recap, we left off and our SOE agents had distracted the barman, and one of our agents here went into a room on the left side, went into a door that said no entry, and didn't really find anything of use. And we were to come back to entry number 248, and that is where we will start. So 248 says regroup. You walk out to see the barman turn in your direction. He glares at you and then says, "What are you doing? Can't you read? No entry." "Apologies, monsieur. I was snooping around. That's what you were doing." He says, "Get out, all of you. You're not welcome here anymore." And our options are to reveal who you are and ask the barman for help, or to leave. I'm going to take a chance here and I'm going to reveal who we are. Well, this is kind of risky, but we'll see what this leads to. So we'll go to entry 207. So on 207, check the highest influence. So the highest influence is looks like a 2. So we'll use hers. So highest influence is a 2 on a 1 to 4. Turn to entry 257. You try to hint that you're friendly to the Maquis and need help, but the barman's face remains stony. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says, "but I do know that I don't like you." There's the exit. With the barman now very suspicious of you, he's going to be like watching you like a hawk. Not seeing any other option, you acquiesce to his demand and leave. Turn to entry 133. Outside, you weigh up your options. It looks like the one remaining patron is about to leave, and you suspect the inn might close once he does, so giving you a chance to break in. Discard all advantage tokens. Okay, so um, this is an advantage token that we have to get rid of. All right, so we our options are to wait for the inn to close and try to break in. If O is circled, if P is circled, we have O is circled right there. So we have to go to entry 359. "We are running out of leads," you say to Leonie, "and we need to know where they went." She nods. "It is risky, but I can ask around the town for you, see what I can find out." "That would be very useful, thank you." She smiles and nods. "I'll be back soon." You rest as best you can in the empty warehouse while waiting for Leonie's return. Add 1 tracking point in advance time. Okay, so add a tracking point. So down here are tracking points. It's kind of like raising an alarm. So the higher this gets, the more uh, what do you call it? The more serious the Germans are looking at us. At a tracking advance time, "I have not discovered where they went," Leonie says when she returns, "but I have learned that there's a man who went by the codename The Pigeon who may know." Circle Q and turn to 177. So I need to circle Q, and then I need to advance the time. So now we're on October 20th, and it's early day. Okay, so we have to go to 177. Okay, "Do you know who the pigeon is?" you ask Leonie. "Yes," she replies. "It was a code name for a man called Egon Keller. He worked for the German army but was helping the Maquis by secretly sending them equipment and weapons. Then he was discovered and ran. Germans offered a high price for his capture. It's rumored that the Bohan gang, dangerous local smugglers, caught him and are holding him at their farmhouse at Colleen Rouge, I can tell you how to get there. If Egon Keller was sending equipment to the Maquis, he may well know where they have bases outside of Igli and where they may have gone. If you rescue him, maybe he can lead you to them, and it would also prevent the Germans interrogating him. So we have to advance time, discard 35, draw card 25, pick a new action from the available action cards. Okay, so let's do this in order here. Advance time. Now we're late in the day. And discard 35 and draw 25. I think we already discarded 35. Yeah, we discarded 35. Okay, so draw 25. Okay. Okay, so that's Bohan Gang's farm. This is where the Bohan Gang are holding Egon Keller the pigeon, intending to hand him over to the Germans. If we raid at night, but it's day, so we have to go to 236. The Bohan farm is a collection of buildings that sits in an isolated spot some way outside Igli. As you approach through a wood, you see two men with guns walk into a barn and close the door behind them. There doesn't seem to be any activity elsewhere, so you'll have to take out the men in the barn. Hopefully you'll find Egon there too. You split up and circle the farm looking for any sign of guards or traps. Check total awareness. So we have to check the total awareness of everybody. I can remove these now because we're not in that situation anymore. All right, 2, 3, 6, 8. Turn to entry 258. You glimpse some snares near the barn, which you know how to avoid. You also see a lookout on the top of a nearby building with a ladder propped against the side, which leads up to his perch. To get to the barn, you'll have to deal with him first, as silently as possible. Circle K. Select one agent to sneak up the ladder and take out the lookout. Turn to entry 143. Okay, so you circle K. And we'll have him sneak. I think the last time, I don't know, I'm going to go with the higher stealth again. Let's go with the higher. See if it's right. So we'll take Bernadette here. Bernadette's going to sneak up there. 258. Okay, turn to 143. Check stealth of blue agent. It's a 3, turn to 386. Slowly and silently, you scale the ladder and approach the lookout. You are now just inches from him. To try to incapacitate the lookout, turn to 437. Use your knife to kill him quickly. Turn to 169. All right, let's do the knife. Turn to 169. We'll need him waking up and raising the alarm. With the lookout dispatched, you regroup and approach the barn. Regroup. If K is circled, turn to 481. So draw map 1.2. It shows the layout of the farm, buildings, and the positions your agents can occupy as you assault the barn. All right, so 1.2 is this map. So these are the positions we can take up. These are the areas that are covered by those vision. Okay, set that there. Okay, so position A, position B, and position C, indoors, short range assault positions These 3 agents will enter the barn in order. Position A first and use room clearing tactics to take out the gang and rescue Egon Keller. Position D, an outdoors cover position. Agent position here can fire on anyone emerging from the front door of the other building and potentially support agents in the barn. Position E, an outdoors long-range cover position. Agent position here with a long-range weapon. Has line of sight to both doors of the other building and the barn entrance. Assign your agents to positions following your encounter rules, page 14 of the rulebook. You can assign 1 agent to each position. You must assign 3 agents to position A, B, and C. If it is night, go to page 469. Else, go to 366. So we'll have to go to 366. But first, let's set up our people. So we have to go A, B, C. All right, so we want our best arms person. We're going to have him in A. Because they're going to be here doing a direct assault into here. We'll have her second, her third, and him in the long range with the Enfield. We'll have the Enfield. I believe is long range. All right, so give him this. All right. So we gotta go to 366. A, you enter the barn, gun at the ready. 2 men are seated at a central table, currently engaged in conversation. A third man stands on the side, his hands on a holstered pistol. Your entrance has completely caught them by surprise. The standing man aims his gun at you as one of the others kicks over the table to provide cover as the same time you open fire. Check firearms at position A. So A, he's a 3. Turn to entry 382. Okay, you move quickly into position while taking out the man who was aiming at you. Turn to 499. You enter the barn close behind your fellow agent. This is for B. Check firearms at position B. Hers is a 2. 2. Turn to entry 108. You fire at one of the men and send him sprawling into a hay bale, but at the same time, a shot from the other man grazes your ribs. Give an injury to agent at position B. Turn to 295. Okay, so she's going to get injured. So what we do when someone gets injured is you flip their card over. There's a little blood splattered. Okay. Per errata I found on Board Game Geek, you can print out this page here. So we had gone from entry 108 and it had said to go to entry 295. But when I went there, it had the wrong information. So it's directs us now to 383. So we'll continue on. As you enter the barn, you narrowly avoid a bullet. However, only 1 gang member remains, and with the support of your fellow agents, you quickly eliminate him. If you have an agent at position D, which we do not, so else turn to entry 306. Okay, this is for section E for this guy down here. Or, yep. Section E. Shortly after your fellow agents move into the barn and a firefight breaks out, lights turn on in the other building. A man bursts out the front door running for the barn. At the same time, a man sneaks out the side door and moves, take cover in the woods near where you are hiding. To fire at the man moving to the barn, turn to 223. All right, check the total firearms at position E. So total firearms are 2, and we'll add a 3. We'll give him 4. So turn to 363. Your shot is on target and the man drops to the ground. Meanwhile, the man that came out of the side door takes cover behind a tree, sends a stream of bullets in your direction. Turn to 259. Seeing his fellow gang member fall, the man behind the tree turns to run, aware that he could report what has happened to the Germans. You take aim. Check firearms position. So we're at 2. So I'll give him his last token, 3. I'll use his last one. So now we're at 3. Was a okay. So turn to entry 446. Just before he disappears from sight, one of your bullets finds the back of his head and he tumbles into the undergrowth. Turn to entry 102. With the gang out of the way, you search the barn. In a small room at the back, you find Egon Keller gagged and tied to a chair. He gives you a bloody grin as you release him. He's clearly taken something of a beating, and his leg is badly wounded. A bullet to the knee says, "That's how they caught me." You explain who you are and tell him that you need to find the Maquis. "I know where they've gone," he says, "and German command know too. They're planning on an attack soon. The Maquis are in a ruined village in the forest to the north. From here, you can reach it in about a day with luck." "How do we get there?" you ask. "When the Germans learn that I'm free, the area around Igli will be swarming with soldiers, so I'd recommend you take an easterly route through the forest de Galgan and Martel Ravine. It'll be tough going on dirt roads, but hopefully you'll avoid capture." "About the attack on the Maquis base, you say? Do you know anything about the German battle plan?" "Unfortunately, no," Egon replies, "but German command thinks I do. So when they discover that I'm free and might have contacted the Maquis, maybe they'll change whatever plans they had. One thing I do know is that they are amassing a large force. There's not much hope of the Maquis winning the battle. The only option is to flee." You nod, processing this new information. "Will you come with us?" Egon shakes his head. "With my injury, I'll only be a burden," he replies. "Don't worry. I've got a contact in Igli who can get me away from here by boat, so I'll make my way." Egon shakes his head. "With my injury." Okay, so that's a typo. It's repeating. As Egon heads towards Igli, you head east. End of encounter. Return any tokens on the map and all advantage tokens to the supply. Discard map 1.2 in all action cards. Add 1 tracking point and advance time. Okay. So all these go back. Get rid of that map. These action cards are done. Okay, so we add a tracking point. Oh, advance time. Okay, the Forest de Galgan is a vast deciduous forest crisscrossed with dirt tracks and overgrown footpaths. You pick your way through the maze, trying to move north as best you can, but the terrain makes for slow progress. Check total awareness. I believe it's an 8, 3, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's a 7 now because she's hurt. 7 turned to 113. You curse as the path that you've been following peters out. It would take a long time to get back to the last turning, so you push on through the undergrowth, hoping to find another path, but it's slow going. Advanced time turned to 3:54. All right, so right now we're late night. Eventually, you come upon a wide dirt road that looks like it may cut straight through to the other side of the forest. From the trees, you notice a parked German KFC 70 transport truck with 2 soldiers standing beside it, smoking. As far as you can tell, there's no one else present. If you took the truck, you would get through the forest much faster, but you'd increase the chance of your presence being discovered by German command. To ambush the soldiers and take the truck, turn to 182. To wait for the soldiers to drive away and then proceed along the road on foot, turn to 126. I think we'll be cautious here, and we'll wait for them to leave. 126. After several hours of walking, you emerge from the forest and climb up a ridge to the top of Martel Ravine. Advanced time times 2. Okay, we're October 21st, late day. The road leads down into the ravine. However, you do not want to continue along it any further because with some surprise you see a large German force at the bottom. You realize this must be where the troops are gathering in preparation for the attack on the Maquis base. You could head along the ridge and cross the ravine once you're a good distance from the Germans, but perhaps you should take this opportunity to spy on them first. If you do so, there could be a lot of information to observe and record. The more of you who go, the more intel you could gather, but the higher your chances of being seen. Let's spy first. So select one or more agents to move into the ravine and spy. All right, so we'll select her, and him, and we'll give him the binoculars. I'll just set this there, set it there. Okay, where were we? 26, okay. So go to 103. If it is night, which it is, oh, it's day, late day. Turn to 152 for day. Cautiously, you make your way down. Check the lowest stealth of blue agents. 2. Turn to entry 219. You find a concealed area from which to observe the German forces and begin assessing their strength. However, you suddenly realize that 2 patrolling soldiers are looking in your direction, and they begin to walk your way. You can't fight them here. You'll need to quickly note down what you can and see and get back up the ravine. Add 2 tracking points. Okay, we're up to 4 on our tracking points. Check total awareness of blue agents. So we've got a 2, 4. Turn to 252. It's a large force that the Maquis could not hope to defeat. Nevertheless, you note down the main vehicles and units you see, along with an estimate of the number of soldiers, all information that could be useful in fending them off long enough to make a tactical withdrawal. Then you carefully head back up the ravine, and you think that you've managed to avoid being seen. Regroup and circle I. If Q is circled, which it is, go to 221. When you've traveled far enough along the ravine that the German troops are out of sight, you make your way down, but the terrain is difficult and progress is slow. On the other side, things look even tougher. There is no way up that doesn't involve stretches of climbing. You have some basic climbing equipment with you, so you take it out, carefully begin the ascent, discard all advantage tokens. If your highest technical skill is 4 plus, or you have 2 agents, each with a technical skill of 3. Okay, so we have to go to 197. We don't have any of those. Halfway up the ravine, disaster strikes. One of the ropes comes loose and the agent attached to it falls back down several feet onto rocks below. Give an injury to the agent with the lowest technical. So that's this guy. So he gets injured. Flip his card over. Okay, after pausing to steady your nerves, you resume the climb, checking all the ropes extra carefully. You reach the top without further incident and continue north, following the directions you were given by Egon Keller. Enter a hilly forested area, and several hours later, glimpse a ruined village ahead, the Maquis base. Turn to 379. Halt! A voice calls out from the trees to your right. You realize there are many gun barrels pointed in your direction from the undergrowth on both sides of the road, and you glimpse several Basque berets, a distinctive hallmark of the Maquis. Who are you? Friends, you reply. We were sent to find you. British intelligence lost contact with you when you fled eagerly. There's a moment of silence. Then a tall, middle-aged woman emerges from the trees. She has a gentle face, and you'd think that there wasn't anything to fear from her at all if it wasn't for her bright, fierce eyes, which look over you with clear suspicion. Tell us how you got here, she says, and everything you know about us. You do as she asks and tell her you want to speak to Felix Aubin, leader of the Maquis. Gradually, the fierceness in her eyes lessens, although it never leaves them completely. She raises her hand, and numerous armed men emerge from the forest and stand around you. I'm Jacqueline. Felix is my son, she says, but he's been wounded badly. Follow me. You are led through dense forest to a thin, overgrown deer track. Following this upwards, you emerge into a clearing on a hillside with a few old, abandoned farm buildings. There's a sturdy-looking stone bridge over a small river to the south. You can see marshland and to the north more forest. Inside a dilapidated house by the river lies the unconscious Felix Aubin. At his side is a young man with a long, thin beard who stands as you enter. This is Dr. Ludwig Ziegler, says Jacqueline, gesturing at the man. He was a medic in the German army, but he's with us now. Doctor, these are SOE agents, here to help. The doctor nods. If you're wondering why I am here, let's just say I couldn't stand the awful coffee anymore. He grins and takes a swig from a tiny cup. Sadly, I found that that's one thing both sides have in common. Jacqueline smiles, but without warmth. How is Felix? He will live, I think, but he's in no state to lead. The Germans know you're here, you say. They're planning an attack. You need to prepare to move out. Jacqueline sighs. We're waiting for some of our people to return. They've obtained information on the German intelligence facility. If we leave without them, we not only lose that information, but they may fall into the hands of the Germans. So you say we need to hold off the Germans until they get here? Help us, says Jacqueline suddenly with a hint of desperation. I've led small squads but never engaged in larger battles. You may know better how to defend this place. You nod. All right, we'll do what we can. An hour later, you've been introduced to the Maquis and surveyed the equipment they have available. You now stand poring over a map of the area, considering your best move. Advance time, draw map 1.3. Okay, so here's the layout. So you have these positions here. Okay, if it is October 21st, which it is, turn to 193. You know the German attack is planned for today and could begin at any moment. The Maquis have some mines and other equipment, but there is no time to make use of them. You need to focus on troop deployment. Meanwhile, Dr. Ziegler is racing to get all the wounded Maquis fighters fit for battle. If you provide some assistance, he could also treat one injured agent. You may discard one skill token from the team pool to restore one injured agent to healthy. So discard one of these. And let's get her better. Okay. So she's now healed. So I think this is a good stopping point. I'll stop here and then I'll continue on with part 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.